Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel. It's Hila here, Saturday Night Stitch, and today we're going to be doing a browse through of the February 2022 issue of Burda Style, which I just received a few days ago. It was much delayed, but better late than never. And we're in February, and these are the only flowers that I sort of have available except for the snowdrops, and these are from my white camellia bush. And I absolutely think that they are so beautiful. They come out quite early, and unfortunately, the moment frost gets to them, the lovely white petals are destroyed. But wherever you are in the world, I'm sending you some lovely white camellia flowers, and hoping that you're having a fantastic day. So we've got the magazine ready here, and we've got the line drawings, so we're going to dive straight into it. So the cover is very beautiful, mustard. Love the mustard suit that they have at the beginning of the issue over there. There's a lot of ads in this issue, which I think it's good. It shows that the magazine is going strong. Let's have the flowers over there. You can see they're a little bit wet from the rain. Okay, so the first pattern is celebrating the ethnic prints, or ethno prints as they call it, and it's a simple jersey top which has got some abstract detail added by form of a seam with some elasticated ruching on there. And you can see what the impact is on an actual lightweight jersey fabric in the image there. So yeah, I think that this could work really well with a very simple lightweight fabric, nothing too fancy, and it definitely would suit if you're into ruching and things like that. Personally, I don't like ruching going down the middle like this. I feel like it doesn't really enhance any curvature or anything like that. I tend to prefer my ruching down the waist because I feel like for me personally, it really emphasizes sort of like my waist to hip ratio when I've got the ruching over here. But I'm curious to see what that's going to look like within the sewing community. And this is rated as a super easy pattern, which I'm very skeptical of, because I think ruching is not an easy thing to do, because there's a real skill to stretching out your elastic and using it within the seam. So I'm not convinced that this is necessarily a super easy pattern. Okay, and then over here we've got possibly the one thing that I do really like out of this issue, so spoiler alert, and that's this blouse, and that's because it's got this really neat mandarin collar here. Not a big fan of the colors that they have decided to use for the fabrics itself, but looking at the line drawings, it's got all of the hallmarks of the soft gamine style ID that I've been using these last few months to build my wardrobe and build my style. And that's a neckline that's very close to the neck over here. And we've got sort of like some poofiness around the shoulder, but then it's tapered in at the wrist here. And the idea is that you can wear it tucked in, and it's tapered in at the waist, but very clean finishes. So they've used like a viscose, which is a little bit more drapier, but for me, I'd want a slightly crisper fabric. So I'd probably be making this in a cotton lawn or a cotton poplin. So this one was definitely something that I was like, this would be great. Probably also to make it in a neutral color that I could then have the opportunity to play around with accessories to add to the outfit. So I quite liked this. I thought that this would make a really good basic. And then over here, we've got the petite size pattern, and it is the dress, which you can't tell a lot from the detail, even though the fabric is a really gorgeous fabric that's got like this Schiaparelli style sketches in black and white, but it's got some draping detail at the waist and an asymmetrical waistline band, and all the shaping is in these three drapes here. So I think that this could create something very classy, and as we're going towards wedding season, I can see this being a wedding guest dress in a lovely pastel colored brocade or jacquard style fabric. Quite keen to see what's going to happen with this one in the sewing community. I think it's going to be quite popular. And we've got a design after my own heart with the cuffs and the tabs at the cuff, and I absolutely love how they've done it on here with this fabric, and then they've got the contrasting trims here and a contrasting tab. I think that this is excellent execution, and it's got the v-neck. This is part of the standard Burda top, which has got the v-neck, slightly wide shoulder, and it's got a wide enough neck for it to be a pullover top, so quite baggy, not as much shaping. There are some bust studs here, but as you can see, you're not expecting it to be very shaped. But I love this execution, and this was something that I was like, I will make a note of. I love the idea of using 2 different colors and then just adding a tab. So great inspiration points from that. And then over here we've got a wrap skirt with some flounce detail at the side, almost creating a mermaid feel to it. And I think that these are quite popular for summer, I would say relatively easy to make, but not super easy, because this flounce here, this is one big pattern piece that is mostly on the bias. And if you're working with a viscose fabric, you're really going to struggle with that bias unless you really have had the experience of handling viscose fabric. So that's just the one thing I would probably take away the super easy tag and give it more of an easy tag. But beautiful, simple dress. Make it in a gingham and boom, you're good to go. Very charming. Pair it with a white t-shirt. And then we've got a touch of the 50s coming through with this skirt, which is a variation on a circle skirt, but it's got inseam pockets with tabs over here, which again are completely wasted in the busyness of the print. Imagine this in denim with mustard. I know you can't keep on repeating denim with mustard stitching, but it does work. Yeah, but it also have the way that they've styled it is very much the 90s. And I don't know about you guys, if you also keep an eye on the trends, though I don't personally dress according to the trends. I do keep an eye on the trends, and I have noticed that the 90s and the early 2000s are really seeping through. And that's the vibe that I get from that. But again, could easily be a very popular pattern. This one would work very well with linen. And then we've got an eternal favorite, which is a parka / trench. This one looks very trenchy-like, in my opinion. And I think what makes it a parka is that you've got the drawstring rather than having it belted. But I think great basic for spring, especially if you're looking at building your spring wardrobe and you live in a place like England where you've got your 4 distinct seasons, and spring is you still need a lightweight jacket, and I think that this would work. I might actually consider this. My only issue with this is the sleeve. I would need the sleeve to be tapered over here. That would be my only issue with it. But again, lovely and very useful. And we've got a pencil skirt over here with some slanted hip yoke pockets. There looks like there's some double layering on the way that the pockets have been done over here. So I'm going to reserve judgment on this until I actually see how this has been made up. So, but it is a very close silhouette, very, very close silhouette. And it's also the featured sewing pattern, which is pretty useful. So you can see on there that the pocket pattern piece is really long and goes all the way down. But pockets are always a very useful thing to have. And I also quite liked the styling issue that they did here. I'm not a big fan of these, I think we call them fanny packs, because you sort of like strap them, or bum bags, that was the other word that we call them. I'm not a big fan of it, but I do quite like the styling of this navy and blue dress. And then you've got that parka over there, and you can see how versatile that parka is on there. And then we've got the neon section, which again is bringing up the early 2000s, the whole neon. It's kind of like really coming back in a big way. And when I went into the shops the other day into town to get some things for my kids, I was seeing a lot of this, and it was just taking me right back. But we have this interesting blouse here, which is a variation on the first blouse that we saw with the V-neck. It's a pullover with some bust dots over here, but we've got a purple inset on the sleeve, which gives an opportunity to add interest, especially with the movement, and particularly when you're using a silk. They're using like a silk and I think that the inset is viscose, and then the main thing is silk. So you've got an opportunity to create something really impactful over there. So yeah, I think that you could easily turn this into a dress, couldn't you, just by lengthening it, and this would be the focus of the dress, and your accessories would be picking up with this, which is what they've done over there. Great styling, actually. Okay, and then we've got a very interesting looking coat here, which has been given the fancy sleeves that have got the elastic casing over there, and they give it like a trumpety style sleeve. Interesting choice of fabric, very bright, very vavoom, going for the statement over there. And then we have a dress, a variation on a t-shirt dress. So it's the V-neck line, bust dots, and the cuff over here, and it's just going straight down. Not a big fan of the styling, but I can see this one being a popular style because it's so simple and so easy to make. And those tend to be the things that do really well. So this is a more complex pattern, which I think deserves more than 2 dots. It's been given 2 dots, dress number 114. And this actually caught my eye on the initial first look, and I got a little bit excited about it. But then when I saw the line drawing, I was just like, nah, no, thank you. And can you guess what it was? Is this? There is literally no need for all of this. It does not, in my opinion, it does not add anything, especially if you're just going to be going and making it like this in one color. I think if you're going to go through all of the hassle of doing this, you gotta show that you've got that. And on this dress, it's the neon panel that's like the pow that I draw. The silhouette of the dress itself is fine. This would make a nice pinafore and A-line dress. Make this in a tartan or in a wool, and you could wear it layered with tights and a turtleneck. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this particular detail. I'm a big fan of the silhouette, not a big fan of the detail over there. And then we've got another pencil skirt here, and this time it's been made in a boucle fabric with a gros grain ribbon, and the waist has been left to be just a little bit fuzzy and unfinished. I'm not a personal big fan of unfinished looking seams and hems. I don't think that I can pull it off. There's some people who can wear this and it looks absolutely amazing on them, but I wear this, I just look like I'm really, really scruffy and I haven't made an effort at all. So it's all about the personal preferences there. And then we've got the trousers, and again, super neon bright. You know, we're coming back to that whole point about fashion cycling through, and we've got some wide leg trousers. And I think that you can see the details more in the line drawing in there. So we've got the pleats that are giving it the volume, and we've got a fly front over here. So yeah, very sort of reminded me of some of my late teens and early 20s. Okay, and then we've got the must-have, which is the mustard suit. The trousers, very similar to the previous trousers that we saw, just extra wide leg with hip yoke pockets. But the top is what actually caught my eye more, and it's because of the sleeve. So it's very interesting how we've created almost like a square sleeve over here. And I couldn't for the life of me, it caught my eye because for the life of me, I couldn't quite understand what the purpose is. It's almost like it's broadening the shoulder, bringing the shoulder out this way. Because normally when we have the seams on there, it's adding like a puffiness to this shoulder here, giving it more definition so that it frames. It's almost like it's allowing you to frame the face when it puffs out like that. But with this one, it's almost like making the shoulder line wider, which is very interesting to see. And I'm supposing that with the combination of this having like a slight peplum on here, it's supposed to sort of create an illusion of sort of like wide, tiny wide. Yeah, I would love to see what people are going to make of this, but striking, stunning looking, and very well styled, I think, because when you've got the one color, you don't really need too much else, and they just have like the matching earrings, although I can't wear this color. Okay, and then we've got some ads, and then over here we've got what I like to call the 80s meets the Wild West. I got a very strong 80s vibe from this. So first off, we've got like this really blousy sort of top, and this is for the tall sizes, so it's 72 to 88. And it's got some shearing over here, so it's going to be very comfortable, and it's a very easy, simple way of creating that blouse-on effect on the sleeves. And it's got a simple opening over here with a tie, and they've added a little bit of a fringe, which is what reminds me so very much of the 80s. I can see this one being a popular make. And then we've got for the kids, again, these dresses remind me of what my mom used to dress me in back in the 80s. So very simple square bib neckline and a lot of material, a lot of flounciness and buttons right at the back over there. So yeah, fabulous. And then we've got that dress again, right? And this time it has been made in a denim, and there has been an attempt to do some top stitching. So we've got some a little bit more detail visible here, and I feel like this works much better than the one where you had the neon panel on it. But again, I'm still like, this just really emphasizes an area of the body that I feel like most women are keen to not emphasize, if that makes sense. It's like all of these lines and all of those seams, they're just going to add so much more padding. It doesn't create a very streamlined look. And I feel like this dress would be so much better if you didn't have that, if you just had this as a panel instead. But hey ho. And then we've got that top again with the asymmetrical slash through it that gives you the ruching. And so this is so 80s style. I got such a big vibe of the 80s out of this particular segment here. And we've got a really useful little boy's shirt, really fancy with the pockets and everything. If I make this, I would obviously skip out the pockets. No boy is going to use their shirt pockets when they've got trouser pockets to wear them. This is size 92 to 116. And again, 80s right down to the fabric with the square bib. I feel like I've seen Princess Di in something quite similar. And then you've got like the frill around here. And then over here, we've got the girl's dress, but that has been cut into just a simple top. It looks very much like a smock, actually, an artist smock. Separately, I quite like this fabric. I think that this is a very dynamic looking sort of fabric. Plus, it's also navy, which I think is a great color. Right, we've got that skirt again, the 50s style skirt, this time slightly shorter. And again, so 80s, reminds me of Dallas actually with I used to watch Dallas. I don't know if you guys remember, with Patrick Ewing, who I think that was my first crush as a kid. It was like Patrick Ewing. Oh, and there was Victoria Principal in it. But yeah, I seem to remember them wearing things like this with the denim jackets and the denim shirts. So yes, a lot of, I did love the 80s nostalgia that I got from this particular segment. It reminded me of a lot of things that I'd forgotten about the 80s. And we've got a lovely little boy's vest over here, of which I've been meaning to make one for my third son. He wants a vest in tartan to go with the little flat cap that he has. Okay, so we had this coat before in the really, really popping pink animal print fabric. And then this time we have it in a stripe. And this is clearly something that you can make from a lightweight fabric to make like a lightweight spring coat, so that it's not quite as heavy as a winter one, but just enough to protect you from the slight chills. But love these culottes here. Just love how wide and gorgeous they are with the deep hem. Fantastic. Really, really fantastic. And then we have the skirt, again, the wrap skirt, which I would contend is not a super easy skirt, with the darts and this really large piece that's on the bias, and you're going to have to sew some sort of a buttonhole to it. To me, a super easy pattern doesn't require any buttonholes or anything like that. But I can see this being popular. A similar sort of skirt has been in other magazines like Fiber Mood, and it's been like really popular, constantly popping up in the sewing community. And then we've got a jacket, which I'm pretty sure I've seen this in the last 4 months. I just can't remember exactly whether I've seen this in the last 4 months. It's almost like a quilted jacket, and you finish it off with bias binding. It can be useful. It can be a useful one to have. And then we've got a tutorial on how to make a blouse with a grommet and some more 80s style trims to add, you know, if you want to get in touch with your inner 80s child. A tutorial on making a lovely toy elephant over there. And then moving on to the plus size section of the Burda Plus, we have using like a Ponte Roma, which I found quite interesting, made a jacket. And I think that this would be so comfortable, like a jacket made out of something that's got some elastin in it. And then they've made it with sweatpants. And this may be very controversial, but honestly, I don't think that there's any way you can make sweatpants look not like sweatpants, if that makes sense. So I can see here what they're trying to do. It's like a two-piece, like a, you know, you could rock up in the office in your sweatpants, except for you're still rocking up to the office in sweatpants, you know. And sometimes I think that certain things should just remain that the way they are. Sweatpants should just be for home loungewear, you know, can't be for office wear. The top bit, I think that would be fine. Like if this had been with like the wide-legged jeans, oh, bellissima. But yeah, I think we need to stop trying to make sweatpants like it's a dressy up thingy. No, they're not dress up thingy. Let me know what you think about that anyway. Okay, so we've got a dress here, simple kimono sleeve, empire line, and it goes straight down. It's a very simple silhouette, but you can make it really, really nice with the level of tailoring that you choose to put into it and the type of fabric. They've used a twill, which I think twill gives like this really beautiful drape to it. It does have slits at the side, which I think would be useful since it goes past the knee. You need to be able to walk with it. But I like the mustard ties that they have used because I also have mustard ties. And it sounds silly, but it's little things like that you're like, I got them. That's why I like the magazines. They just sort of take me out of my daily life and can I have fun with it. Get a glass of wine and browse through the magazine. Right, and then we've got the trousers over here, but this time we've done it in contrast. And again, I think that these look great as loungewear trousers, as casual wear, something that you just sort of like chilling at home in. But, going into the office in sweatpants is still going into the office in sweatpants. And then we've got this wrap over top over here with the ruching. And yeah, I've seen this. I've made something quite similar, which I actually wore quite a lot until eventually the fabric sort of just died. But yeah, this is a good style top, and you can layer it over a turtleneck if you didn't want to show as much cleavage. And then we've got this dress here, the sweater dress, which I thought was so cute looking at the line drawings. I really like the use of the princess seam lines and the way you have this curved waistline and you've got the neck darts. It's just got so much going on, and you could have so much fun with this by having this in a different contrasting fabric over here and doing your neckline in another contrasting fabric. Or if you wanted to, you could add a frill, because I've noticed that the frill collar seems to be quite popular latterly. And this is a great way of actually wearing it and styling it. And I think that it's fabulous. So even though they've used Ponte Roma fabric, which is the same fabric that they were using for the sweatshirt, this doesn't look like it's out of place in an office, I think. I think that this is gorgeous, and I think that that's going to be quite popular. And then we have another great example of how to layer this sort of wrap over ruching top, and it looks lovely. I think it's lovely. I thought that the plus size section had some solid, really nice solid things between the blazer, the dress, and the wrap over top. So that's what we have with February 2022. Some lovely, interesting styles, but overall, for the most part, for me, it's number 104. That's the thing that I would make if I were to make anything out of it, and I would be making it instead of viscose crepe that they used. I'd be making it in a cotton lawn or a poplin, just for it to have that crisper airiness to it. So yeah, a lot of separates. I think that they did a good job with having a lot of separates in here. So you've got, the pencil skirts and the 50 style skirt and the wrap skirts, and you've got the trousers as well. So yeah, a good mix of things that are available. Some questionable choices in terms of the dust, like dress number 114. And yeah, I think that this is possibly going to be the least popular, as in you will probably have to wait months and months before anybody makes this particular one. But that's what we have. So now it's your turn. Let me know what you're going to be making from this issue, if you're going to be making anything at all. I know that online there was a lot of excitement over this two-piece, and I am very curious to see how this looks, because I already have really broad shoulders. And so for me personally, anything that's actually going to make my broad shoulders even broader is a bit of a no-no to me. But I can see this being interesting to some people, and I'm really curious to see what this looks like out in the wild that is the Burda sewing community. So until I see you next time, lovely people, I hope that you have a lovely day and a lovely weekend, and happy sewing. Bye.